Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore podcast. This is episode 209. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And we have our first of two holiday shows this year. We only got two in this year just due to scheduling. Got a little off. So usually we have three movies, holiday movies. This year we're only going to do two. This is the first of it. It's the Advent Calendar, or Shudder original. So that plot point, which you can't really talk about why I'm saying this, but Tim and I had a near and dear reason to really pay attention to this one. But yes. You'll hear what we thought of this film when we get to that part.
Yeah, it's kind of rare that we get to do a recently released holiday film, because typically, we're going back into the back catalog and we're doing older Christmas horror movies, or at least ones that have been out a little while.
Yeah.
But this one we got to, kind of within a week or two of it being released, we got to do this one, so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
And instead we got a call too from our good friend Cletus, and he want to read his letter now. But we've already done Red Christmas, so we told him that. He was not pleased, but I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get right into it, guys. This is our first chop. All right, so Brian, I actually got to watch quite a bit over the, I say the break. We didn't really take a break. We recorded the gift guide, we recorded the disc memberment. It's kind of a break in regular shows for you guys, but for us, we've kept on going.
We never get a break.
No, we never get a break. Well, we're going to get a little holiday break.
Yeah, coming up, we'll get a break, but
I did get to watch quite a few things that I didn't get to talk about because we were not doing a regular episode. And the first one of these was The Visitor. And of course, Brian he's heard all about this from the behind the scenes between Twitter chats and Instagram chats and things like that.
Yeah, and Emily are like, I felt so left out because I didn't get to watch it yet. I need to see this thing, but...
So this thing is on Shudder, and of course, anytime Shudder releases a movie from the 70s, I'm always like all over it. And this one is from, what was it, oh my gosh, I gotta find the date here, 1979. And the original title for this one is called Stridulum?
Yeah.
Stridulum? I don't know. But this is it's got Lance Henriksen in it, Glenn Ford. And this one plays out. I don't know if you remember that movie, Kathy's Curse.
Before you go any further, just to clear, we want to make sure people know this is not the Richard Jenkins vehicle, The Visitor, from 2007.
No. This is definitely 1979. It has 70s written all over it. It's got John Huston in it. Sam Peckinpah. I mean, it's got all kinds of names in here. Shelley Winters. I mean, there's some big names in here, right?
Sam Peckinpah. Doesn't it sound like the perfect name for a cat?
Oh, maybe if I get a new cat, I'll name it Sam Peckinpah.
Right? Doesn't it? It's like
or a bird, maybe.
A bird, or bird and cat combo, like a cat bird. Peckinpah.
But this one is totally weird. So it's about this girl who is basically born as, I guess, sort of like a Satan, like a female Satan evil entity, and there is a group of people basically trying to bring her into power or whatever. It's kind of like the same plot as like Rosemary's Baby or something, but it's way crazier than that. There's like some sci-fi elements that start out at the beginning. You don't know what's going on. But the great thing about this is Paige Connor plays Katie Collins, who's the little girl. She's like 8 years old in the movie. And she's like got this country twang accent. And she's like, it's not like the typical evil kid. Like she's not necessarily like demonic sound. She doesn't like strike you as like creepy, but she's just like, telling adults to F off. And so it's just funny. It's hilarious. She does some things in here that I don't want to spoil. Me and Emily have spoiled some of them for Brian, unfortunately, but it's completely insane. You just have to go watch this movie. I don't know what I watched, although I was entertained the entire time.
Oh my God, I have to see this now immediately, because I just noticed that Steve Summers is in this movie, who plays a sportscaster. He plays himself in it, and it's the schmoozer. That's like my favorite sports guy ever. No, he's the schmoozer. It's on the WFAN. He just literally retired like in the past couple weeks, and I remember I even got to meet him, and he's like, I don't know how he sounds in this movie, but I swear to God, I think tonight I'm going to watch this just for this, because in the real show, he's like, hello, this is the schmoozer on the fan New York. And he goes, me here, you there behind the glass on the fan. And he used to do this bit. He's like oh my God, this guy's a bit. In fact, he was a major, one of the major fans he had was Jerry Seinfeld, who actually called him up sometime and said he was Jerome from Queens, and actually would call up Steve Summers and they would talk Mets. And,
oh my gosh!
Yeah, no, I did not realize he ever did a movie though, and it's funny too because his wife he used to call the hawker. He'd go, "Oh, we're staying in tonight, me and the hawker." So I don't know how he sounds in the movie, but now I gotta. Yeah,
oh my gosh!
I used to drive Julie crazy with imitations of him all the time.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love this movie, Brian. I'm predicting it right now. You're going to absolutely love this. It is so ridiculous that I just had a blast with it. I thought it was supremely entertaining.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sold now with Steve Summers. You got to look him up though, see what he looks like. If you look at his IMDb, it says former TV sportcaster Steve Summers has been part of New York Sports Radio 66 WFAN since its inception in 1987, affectionately known as the Schmoozer or Captain Midnight, because he used to do the overnights. He used to go from like 12 to 6. He says affectionately known. Oh yeah, no, he was a fixture of the stations overnight until 1995 when he's teamed up with WWOR UPN 9 sportscaster Russ Salzberg. Nice little Jewish combo there. My people there, and they had actually the best midday ratings at the time ever on the station. But they said from time to time callers would bring up his brief appearance as a reporter in the 1979 movie The Visitor. So wow. This is like so exciting for me because I had no idea there was this like that he actually made a horror movie. Now I got to see, and my friend Eric and I, we got to meet him and we hung out, and he literally is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Super humble guy,
nice.
and he's just like I remember he signed stuff. I got some pictures with him. I'll have to find the pictures, and because I think it's like on my computer because it was before I had an iPhone, so I got to dig up that picture and I'll post it on social media of me and the Schmoozer, or now star of The Visitor, as he will now be known.
I almost want to do this one as a feature at some point. It is that
we should maybe we'll
ridiculous.
Make that like our first movie out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, because it could reach Manitou levels of hilarity, I believe.
Maybe we'll have to get that. We'll have Emily come on and do it. Remember, we said she was going to come back on to do a movie with us. So,
that would be perfect. Yeah, that'd be a perfect
round table. That could be the next round table.
Oh yeah, we got to do that as a round table. Totally.
Okay. Yeah, totally, I'm gonna I'll text her later. We're gonna get this on board because I know I think she's going away. I'm going away in December. She's going away. So we'll time it. So we'll do it somewhere in January. We'll do it on our next round table. We'll bring her in and we'll do the Visitor.
I'm so excited. Yes, that'd be great.
Look at it live on the air. You guys hear this excitement. Hopefully, I better text her before she hears this episode. She'll be like, she goes, "Did I agree to this? What's going on here?"
Yeah. Now, the next one I watched, which I was very much looking forward to, and I will not do any spoilers here because I don't believe you've seen the first one, right, Brian? Is Don't Breathe
but I
2.
just bought the second one. I just got it. The Monolith ordered it when he heard you talking about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Don't Breathe 2. Now, this one, I was really curious as how they were going to do a sequel. Because it could have gone one or two ways. They either would have had to make it radically different or like a carbon copy. That's the only way I could see them actually pulling off a sequel. And they kind of split the middle on it. And I thought that was a really neat way. This series is kind of known for subverting your expectations of who's good, who's evil, how you think about the different characters. It really doesn't fit any particular mold. And the sequel did a great job of continuing that kind of ambiguity and really keeping you guessing as to who you should be cheering for. So I actually thought this was a pretty darn good sequel. It doesn't top the first one for me. I was a big fan of the first one. I probably watched it 3 or 4 times, which is rare for me to watch a recent movie that many times. But I thought it was great. just based on the trailers, I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did, due to some of the plot advancements since the first one. But somehow it really was entertaining. Now, I will say, if there's one criticism I have, I thought the premise was a little far-fetched. But if you're willing to kind of suspend disbelief and kind of go with it, I think you'll be suitably entertained. Don't Breathe 2 was definitely a worthy horror sequel. Better than most sequels, for sure.
Well, I mean, you wonder if it could go like, if it's going to be like a franchise like Don't Breathe 6. But I mean, by that time, the guy would be turning blue, I think, right?
Yeah. I get the feeling they're probably not going to go much further with this series. But if you're a fan of the first one, I think you'll like this one.
Nice. So I got to watch something. We got a screener. It was called Autumn Road. So this one was a pretty interesting movie. I'm going to describe it the way I described it to you, Tim. So it's kind of like a slow burn, really artsy film, but like centered around a haunt, if that makes sense. So it was about these two brothers, I guess, and when they're younger, I'm not going to give into too many details, but basically their father runs this local haunt, and there's one brother you can tell is a little like nutty, the other one's a little shy and nerdy, but they are twins, and so basically there's sort of a disappearance of a young girl, and it's kind of connected to them a little bit, and anyway then. Flash forwards years later where the two brothers are running the haunt, and basically the girl's sister comes back into town because she's kind of down on her luck. She comes back into town and tries to like reconnect with her sister's memory, and it's definitely horror. It's definitely a lot of more of there's a kind of more drama to it than I expected, but that's not a bad thing. I'd actually, and as I was watching it, I wondered how I was going to feel afterwards, like if I was going to be disappointed or not. And I have to say, it sat with me really well. And I think the reason why is because it was, I shouldn't say all the time because we know there's one haunt film that we're not fans of, but usually when there's something with a haunt, I'm kind of already sold on it. You already have my interest and I'm focused. So it really, from that point, you have me and you could, it's either keeping me there or losing me. This one kept me there. And so I think that's what it was. I thought it was, it was interesting enough and the performances are good. And it featured, and I swear to God, I really think that she is, because you know what? I got to talk about this movie. I did not put it on the rundown, but I forgot. But Lar Park Lincoln seems to be making a triumphant return to the world of horror here because she had a small but really a good role, and of course she played Tina in Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, and she was really good in it. It was really good to see her back as just in something. But I'll tell you, she's in something else too, which I'll talk about after. But but this movie, had a lot of dialogues, very a slow burn. Like there's not a lot of action at all in it. There's not a lot of jump scares. There's not a lot of true scares. There's definitely more leans towards the drama of it. But you know what? I have to say, and it's kind of like there's almost like you could see the story that's being told in this being done in one of those Discovery Channel Discovery Plus specials.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I gotta say though, I actually really enjoyed it. So I think you should definitely check that out, Tim. We have the screener still, so cool. I think you'll like it. It's kind of definitely got a heavy on the dialogue. But the other thing I want to say, Roseblood, the Friday the 13th fan film, because again, this is something I forgot because we never got to talk about it since we didn't do the regular episode. So this was another Jason fan film, and I mean, I'm telling you, these fan films of Friday the 13th, I don't know what it is, but I haven't seen one I did not like yet. And this one, actually, even, I thought this one just blew me away. Blew me away how good it was, because it did a lot of stuff that I didn't expect it to. And it actually has, so basically, it's called Roseblood, a Friday the 13th fan film. That's its official title. And it acts as a direct sequel to Part 7. So,
Ooh, that's
and actually,
interesting.
Lar Park Lincoln and Terry Kreiser return into their original roles of that movie, and their chemistry is as good as it was in the original. It's just like,
Wow.
and I tell you, Terry Geyser brings it, Lar Park Lincoln brings it. And it's, and then it flashes back basically from the, they're in the beginning, but then it flashes back. And so what Roseblood is about is basically it's Tina now is after she survived Crystal Lake. Oh, also Kevin Spirtus, of course, who played Nick in that, actually reprises his role as well. But anyway, so what it is, it takes place, it flashes back to when Tina is now captured by not captured, but she's being held at this research facility about her telekinesis powers, because it's basically they're convinced that she can bring Jason back, and so there's this whole thing around. And now Jason, I will say, does not appear until like after an hour of this movie. But that's how good it is. I didn't even notice it until I realized, I'm like, whoa, he hasn't been in it, and it's like almost an hour here through this already. But I'll tell you, when he does appear, by far looks exactly like Kane Hodder playing Jason. It's like the makeup work on this thing is phenomenal. And this is free, by the way, on YouTube. You can watch it. Anyone can watch this.
Wow.
Put on
That's
free
cool.
for YouTube. So I suggest everyone to watch it. But anyway, and so what happens is, where it gets Roseblood is, there's actually another child is brought in that supposedly they were looking for, named Rose, who kind of has similar powers, but I think she's a little more dangerous. They kind of imply than Tina. And Tina at this point is a young Tina now, played by Jessica Hotman, who is actually does such a great job in this. Actually, I even she actually followed us back on Instagram. I had followed and complimented how good she was in it, which she appreciated. So anyway, but also, another returning character, not played by the same actor, but do you remember from Jason Goes to Hell, the Duke? There's a younger version of him in this to kind of show how he took his turn to now go hunting after Jason.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, the fan service in this is phenomenal. They already they tease a sequel, and if you're a fan of Friday the 13th, especially Part 7, you got to watch this. I think this is really good. There's a lot of cool fan service and Easter eggs in this, but not to the to its detriment. It's to its positive. And there's actually a couple of surprises that that I did not expect, that I was like, whoa, that's really an interesting idea. But it all works somehow. It just all works, and it's just really cool. Kind of, there's a little bit like some parts is kind of like definitely a little Jason Goes to Hell vibe, because a lot of military versus Jason kind of thing that so you could imagine how well that goes. So it's just, it's definitely good. And it's great that it has that it's free for everyone to enjoy. That's what I love about these Friday the 13th fan films. They usually are released to YouTube, and you can, but the Never Hike Alone series, The Vengeance, I think there's the sequel to that one coming out. So yeah, I really think this one definitely gets one of my highest recommends, just because it's so fun, because I was a big fan of Part 7. Especially Lar Park Lincoln's character of Tina, which everyone I remember wanted in the video game, although I don't think that would have worked well. That would have been hard to pull off.
Some psychic powers. Press X to
it would have been cool, but I think what you would have had to do is she would have had to kind of be like the Tommy. You'd have to call her after doing a couple of things, and she'd only have limited time she could do stuff, kind of a deal. But it would have been nice if they would have done that. But anyway, so Roseblood, Friday the 13th fan film. And so that one's definitely something everyone should check out. There's no reason not to. It's free on YouTube, and we'll put the link in the show notes in there, because to make sure that everyone can find it. Because I think they posted on Instagram, and that's how I found it. But it was directed by Peter Anthony, who also wrote it. So I wanted to make sure he got his credit. So
nice. We got some big news there this week. Our buddy Jeff Whitmire's new horror comedy album Stabby Road has been funded on Kickstarter.
Yes.
So that was really exciting. I was very happy for him, because we definitely want to see this album come to fruition, and Jeff's a super nice guy, and he deserves every penny of that to make this happen. And I'm just over the moon that he was able to get this pulled off. And
Yes, of course. You and I both donated to it, of course.
Yeah, I upped my pledge to the $35 one, so I could get both physical copies of his previous album as well.
Yeah, that's the one I did. Yeah, and it really couldn't happen to a nicer guy because, most people that do these Kickstarters, they're going to work hard on it. They're going to give you what they promise you. As we've seen in definitely in the In Search of Darkness series and everything, but but Jeff, I feel like he is going to put every ounce of himself into this thing. You are going to get such a great thing, and he's already almost to his second another stretch goal. Actually, he's trying to get to 6,000. He's going to do a live concert on Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom concert.
Which will be great if he could pull that off, because he's just one of those guys you can't help rooting for all the time because you could tell he just does it for the love of his craft and stuff. So I cannot wait for this to come out, and he's got a good timeline. I think it's coming out in February, right? It's not like one of these Kickstarters where it's you'll see it in a year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it'll be soon.
And we've got to sample some of his songs. I listened to 2 of the ones already that I hadn't heard before, and they're both I've come to expect greatness. So he really got a high bar he's got to live up to each time, because all the songs are good. But there's a good one. I don't want to say it yet because I think he's kind of keeping it as a surprise. But yeah, the 2 I heard today, Tim. I don't know if you heard him. He sent us the links to them.
Really not yet. I'll definitely have to check those out.
Yeah. Congratulations again to our good friend Jeff Whitmire.
Yes. New Jersey Horror Con has announced 2 guests that we are excited about. We're really going to try to make this one. We need more stories other than the ones you guys have heard 50 times.
Plus, with these are two guests. One we've met, sort of, because she was a guest on our show, and the other one, who I just mentioned, Lar Park Lincoln, is someone that I've been dying to meet all the time at one of these horror cons. So I'm really glad that she's going there. And the other guest, of course, is Kelly Maroney, who we had on for our chopping mall, and she is as nice as can be. Great ambassador for the horror community, as you know. She was in Night of the Comet, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Chopping Mall. So she was also, and so I remember when she was on our episode, I was really nervous, but she was one of the sweetest.
Because that was early on. We had not done a lot of interviews when we did that.
Right.
Interview. That was kind of early on in our interview career. So that was a big guest for us to get at that time.
Yeah, and she was as just so accommodating, so nice, and and if you follow her on, she's very interactive on social media with her fans and everything, which is great. And so yeah, she's someone that we definitely think that once I saw that she was the first guest announced, I'm like, okay, this is. Now I'm almost it's made my decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely have to go. It's definitely great if Tim and I both can go, but I think I definitely have to go to this regardless.
Yeah. The last thing here was kind of a late breaking story. If you guys remember back, this was between episodes 178 and 179. It was back in March 10th of 2021. We had an interview with Chase Harrison and my brother Kevin, talking about Wendigo, which was Chase's and director Scott Davis's horror audio drama, and it was a really, really cool, just basically audio horror play, because at the time you really couldn't go out to the theater in the midst of the pandemic, so this was a kind of a way to experience theater in your own home, and it was a fantastic audio drama.
It was so cool, especially you could put on some headphones and you sat there in the dark and listened to it. It was awesome.
But he actually entered this into the Podcast Palooza Festival and came in second place, which is huge considering there were about 121 entries. So to come in second is just an incredible achievement, and we were really happy for Chase and all the work he put into that. It was and my brother, of course, who had a role in it. So that was really exciting to hear today that came in second place.
Yeah, so congratulations to Chase, and he was a nice guy too. We got to have him back on. We promised him he'd come back on and just chat some more horror, because that was a fun episode, because he's a big horror fan.
Huge horror fan.
Oh, so one more thing actually before we get into the movie. wanted to give we got another some information on a new film coming out called American Refugee. So let me just read to you a little about this. It says the bunker thriller American Refugee is now available on digital and on demand in the midst of societal collapse. The Taylor family's last chance at survival is a neighbor's bunker, where their fate lies in the hands of the family patriarch. When tensions rise, who can really be trusted? Buy or rent American Refugee and watch it today, unrated, from Paramount Pictures.
Yeah, so we may have some we're going to be continuing.
Oh, right, we have some more giveaways we got to actually post next week too. So.
Yeah, so we're gonna continue to as we get promo codes for rentals or promo codes for copies of some of these movies, we'll definitely pass them along. So keep a really close eye on our social media because we run in some more contests and things.
Yeah, there's definitely, as you're listening to this, there's going to be one this week for sure that we've had for a couple of weeks. It's just due to timing and stuff. I didn't want to release it when I couldn't follow it.
Yeah,
for everybody. So it's just a crazy week at our real jobs, the one that doesn't hemorrhage money, that gives us some money to help us produce this podcast. Had a long week at work. So I really didn't want to put the contest this week so I could really kind of focus on if anyone had questions. So this will, by the time you're listening to this, it should be out there to release. Probably the same rules, share, like and retweet what we post up there to hopefully, and then you could win. We'll do another raffle,
right, cool.
Random.
All right, so our main feature this week is a movie called The Advent Calendar. Of course, this was released on Shudder, 2021 film, French film, directed by Patrick. Oh God, I gotta go through
I'm
all
only
these
laughing
names.
because I know Tim's looking at these names and cringing, and he's gonna probably come out like Pee Wee Herman going blah 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 blah.
Yeah, like blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I'm gonna butcher every one of these. I'm sorry. Patrick Ridgermont. I'm sure there's a French way
It's
to
probably
say that.
Ridgermont, but
Ridgermont. Yeah, it's probably something like that. I'm gonna do it the North Carolina way.
Oh boy.
Eugenie Darrowan as Eva. Honorine, that's a cool name.
Yeah,
Honorine.
isn't that cool? Like Honorine. I wonder if we're probably it's probably even cooler if we said it correctly. But
yeah, that's right. Like Honorine. Honorine Magnier as Sophie. Clement Olivieri as William. Janie Abric as Antoine. Cyril Garnier as Boris. Vladimir Perrin as Thomas. Fabian Jagoudet as La Pentine. I feel like I sound like Pepe Le Pew.
I
now.
purposely put every person in the credit just so I could listen to Tim. This is a little cruel little joke I did to him, but in all honesty, I couldn't tell some of the characters' names, so I didn't know. I also put everyone because I didn't want to leave an important character out, just because it's a very confusing movie.
I'm trying to figure out how this many characters was actually in the movie because there was not that. This wasn't a big cast.
Well, I want to know what the Le Pantine is. Like, was that?
La Pantine.
I don't know what it is. I don't even know what the antagonist in this. I know what his name was, and I don't see him in the credits. So go figure. I don't.
Jerome Paquat as John, Laura Prestjovic as Miriam, Isabelle Tanekil as Agnes, Jean-Francois Giraud as La Père d'Eva, Olivier Bonjour. Come on now.
Didn't make these up. That's what's there.
Oh my God!
But I'll tell you, La Père d'Eva, right? Isn't that like is that the Eva's father? Is that supposed to be? Because Père is father.
Oh, the father. Yeah, La Père.
So that's that's the only one character, and him and Eva and Honorine, Sophie. That's the three characters I knew for sure. That had a name.
And Olivia Bonjour, which all I can think of is Bonjour.
Yeah,
from Beauty
exactly.
and the Beast. As Alois Hoffman.
Actually, one other thing with the Bonjour, I also remember Roz from 9 to 5. Remember? Bonjour. Bonjour.
Yeah,
of course, if we don't do an cheesy 80s comedy reference in our episodes.
Yeah. Oh, so this one, I'll read you the synopsis. Eva is a paraplegic. On her birthday, her friend Sophie gives her a strange advent calendar. It's not the traditional treats you find when you open each drawer, but quirky gifts that are scary and get bloodier. So this one is, I really liked the premise of this one, and I liked the design of the advent calendar.
God, that was a really cool advent calendar.
This one, I was telling Brian before the show, this really reminded me of the old Jewish legend of the Dybbuk box.
Yes.
and you've seen movies about the Dybbuk box and how there's a demon trapped inside. I've even watched YouTube videos of people opening them that they bought on eBay and kind of all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and there's a famous Dybbuk box, right? That I think the Warren Zone, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah,
I think I saw it on one of those Discovery shows. They were talking about it.
Yeah, I watched a special on one of them. I don't know if it was the same one, but it was one, and they had it like, you know, carefully where they wouldn't open it and all this. It was kind of cool. So I really like the design of this one. So that's what it kind of reminds you of. So Eva gets presented this for her birthday, this advent calendar at the start of December, and it starts off like all of these movies starts off. It starts off very innocently, I guess. But each drawer typically holds a candy, not always, but typically holds a candy. And there's like 3 rules for this Dybbuk box, which are very weird.
Well, it's kind of ominous for a jovial holiday gift, supposedly.
Yeah, it's sort of like Gremlins. There's 3 rules.
Yeah,
and I'm going to try to remember them, Brian. I know one rule was you have to obey all the rules.
Yeah,
I think that was the 3rd rule, actually. You have to obey all the rules. 2 is if you eat one candy, you have to eat all of the candies.
Right. And Tim and I have a debate, which we might discuss in this episode, about what that "you" means, if it actually means the possessor of said calendar, or you, the proverbial you, that basically once the candy is eaten, they all have to be eaten, not necessarily by the person.
Yeah, and I will have to say, I'm just going to go ahead and spoiler alert this episode. If you haven't seen this, I think we're going to have to talk at least mild spoilers.
Yeah, because this one, Tim and I stymied us both in some spots, and I mean, part of it, granted, there was, and this is a little nitpick, not really on Shudder on that, because okay, first of all, I no problem with them not dubbing it. I'm glad it was in the natural French language. With subtitles, because I don't like when they dub something over. You don't get the same emotion. You don't ever get the same feel. But the one problem I had is the subtitles were English up until when they were writing. And then the writing subtitle would still be in French. So I'm like, what did she write there? I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Bad.
I mean, I took French for 2 years. I pretty much got booted from it because I kept chewing on my pen and the teacher didn't like that. It's a story for another day. But anyway, and But yeah, so it's like, I think that there's one scene that I don't know if that maybe kind of led to the confusion. She was trying to write something on there, and they wrote it down, but it was and sometimes there were things said that there wasn't a subtitle for. Did you notice that in a couple of sequences?
Yeah, which, I mean, sometimes that's used for effect. I
Right.
understand that, but in this case, I don't really know. I mean, I took 3 years of German, so all I heard was "Es ist Mitternacht."
Yeah.
Es ist Mitternacht. When this thing went off at midnight, which that right there would make me want to hurl that thing off of a bridge.
Yeah, I don't need my advent calendar talking to me like a cuckoo clock at midnight, telling me to open up. It's like, listen, I get it. Like it's like, and this one has that like fail safe too, where it's like, remember she tried to open another one and it wouldn't even let her.
Yeah,
it's
you can't look ahead. Yeah, it's like time. Now, if you could make a replica of this thing, it would be so freaking awesome.
Oh my God. I would really actually love to have it in as knowing that I've made it and not
like a non-working version.
Yes. Or whatever the characters in each. I thought it was ich, and then she said ich. So I like. There's a lot of loose terminology in this, the way of through the pronunciation of this.
Which ich in German is just I. Like me, or I. So that's kind of a weird designation for whatever resides in this box. But anyway, so Eva, I felt like they were remarkably somewhat cavalier about their approach to this weird thing. Like, I guess in my mind, if somebody brought me like this old looking,
we forgot. I'm sorry, we forgot the 3rd rule, the 2nd rule, which was like, you can't throw it away or I'll
can't
kill
dump
you.
it, which was weird.
Yeah,
it was a weird phrasing. You can't dump it. I don't know what that meant. Like, to me, like an American, I would think you said you can't discard me or can't throw me away. It's just weird, like you can't dump.
Well,
dump
it is France, so maybe that's the slang in there is dump.
I guess, yeah.
They would
just
use
weird.
but...
I don't know. That
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm like, oh wait, we forgot the rules because.
Yeah, so you can't get rid of it. You have to eat. If you eat one candy, you have to eat all the candies, and you have to follow all the rules until the last day.
Yes.
So there's a little loophole there, but anyway. So she starts, and I thought, if you're gonna get, like, if somebody brought me this thing, it looks old, right? It looks vintage. It looks ancient. If you open up a drawer, are you gonna really eat the candy in there? Like, in my mind, that candy would look like it was. I mean, I would think that candy was like 50 years old.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, like gum used to get in the baseball cards. It's like perpetually 55 years old.
I don't.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing that struck me. I was like, "Ooh, you're eating that out of that drawer." But anyway, but things start. They start off fairly small, but then they start escalating. For instance, one drawer has her father's favorite candy in it, and when she eats this candy, she gets a phone call from her father, which
Who supposedly we should preface it. Supposedly, I guess, has a late stage of dementia.
Right. So
and
the
doesn't
idea of him
remember her.
calling her, I first thought maybe he was dead, and I thought,
Yeah, that's what I
that'd be really
thought too.
spooky.
I thought he was dead. That may have been just a translation we missed in the terminology they used.
Yeah, but and this was another one. This is a super minor nitpick, and I shouldn't even be like harping on it. But the girl's in a wheelchair. She can't reach she has to take something and throw it at the phone to get it off the cradle. And I'm like, and all the time she's lived here, has she not decided? At least had somebody come over and go, "Hey, can you lower that phone so that I can
you
actually
give me
answer the phone?"
A desktop or a cordless. But yeah, and granted, though, you find out later in the film that she wasn't always. It wasn't she was born as a paraplegic. She
also has an iPhone. She may not use her landline.
Oh, that's
I
true.
can understand.
Yeah, she did have the iPhone, I guess. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I remember she did say the phone was broken, so she probably didn't bother it at that point. That's right. There is a line where she says. She was saying that how not only was it surprising that her dad called, but he called on a disconnected, broken phone.
That's true, yeah. So that's probably why she didn't bother.
Yeah.
With
Okay,
it,
so we answered it ourselves. See, sometimes we just need to talk it out.
Yeah, we get together. We really get nowhere.
Nowhere.
But things start. So what she starts realizing is eating these candies is having real world effects in some way.
Yeah.
And things slowly start to escalate. And we learned very early on that there's some kind of demon in this box. Now,
Yeah.
I was not a big fan. I was telling Brian this before the show. I was not a big fan of how they showed this so early. There is a physical representation of the demon, which it looks cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. It looks cool. They did a pretty good job of that.
It's kind of like a Voldemort meets Dr. Satan kind of looking guy.
Yeah, it looked like one of those things we saw at Halloween Horror Nights. Like in that stage
exactly.
area. But there was times where I felt like they could have just done away. They did a lot of these like quick cuts to either like a flashback or to like the demon thing, and I'm like, you don't have to show me that. Like, I understand there's something in this box without you having to physically show me this demon writhing around. And I found it distracting. I kind of wish they had just backed off of trying to show us every little thing, and this extended throughout the movie, which was kind of again kind of distracting for me because I really liked a lot of the premises, but then they would like show it to you, so almost beat you over the head with it. I guess I don't know. I get, as a moviegoer, I don't like my intelligence insulted. Like, I feel like I can figure things out on my own, and sometimes when you're trying to show me something through a flashback or something, it rubs me the wrong way. Like, for example, there's a scene where I'm trying to think of one of the scenes, but it's where she's putting two and two together about what the candy did. And
and she's making like that like a map on the table. So
yeah, but there's parts of it where she's like flashing back to something that happened, and you're going, as a viewer, I know that happened. I put two and two together that the candy did this. I don't have to be shown that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's you know what it is. They kept going back from you being an audience member to being in her head, back and forth. And I don't think you needed to do that. I think in this case, you kind of already established yourself as an audience member and you were already brought into the movie. Now, I get the tactic when you want to put yourself in someone's head, but that's usually what you kind of stay consistent with it. I think the back and forth in this kind of works as almost taking you out of it a bit.
Yeah, that's a good point, Brian, because it works if you stay consistent. If those flashbacks are always in your head, or if they're always for the benefit of the viewer. If it stays consistent, it's one thing. But in this case, I just felt like they were all over the map. Because obviously she didn't know about the demon in the box.
Right.
When she first got it. But yet they're flashing to the demon in the box. So that's telling you that the flashbacks are for you, the viewer. But then later on, they're doing flashbacks that are supposed to be her mental thoughts. And how are you supposed to differentiate?
Especially when, and granted, it's definitely more challenging for us because we're not fluent in French, so we're having to read dialogue. So we're trying to focus, and I always find it's really hard when you you watch a movie that's so trying to be artistic, too many things going on, and you're trying to read the subtitles. I will admit it's a little difficult. I still enjoy them a lot, but. So it's like, in this, it's like, and then if you do some kind of flash thing and you're like, whoa, and I found myself having to rewind a little bit because I missed the dialogue come across because I was trying to process what the flashback was about,
Yeah.
But I mean, granted, these are like minor nitpicks, kind of more technical nitpicks. It doesn't really take away from the whole scheme of the movie. But yeah, and I think what definitely was some of the strong points was I thought the leads were really strong in it. I thought the main actress, I guess Eugenie Derouand, the one who played Eva, was
very.
I thought she was really good. I mean, really just you could tell she really had the proper emotions going throughout the film, and very very stunning looking woman. You could tell when she was struggling. You could tell when she was hyper. You could tell she had a very good face for the emotion that she needed. It was like one of those just one of those actresses that can just portray things like in her eyes at sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot, because she doesn't really have a lot of dialogue. I mean,
right.
She has dialogue with other people, but a lot of the movie she's by herself.
Right.
And so all of her communication has to be done through her face, which I thought was really, really striking. I thought she did a fantastic job. So yeah, I agree with that. I also think one of the strengths was I thought a lot of the advent calendar things that I thought were going to happen were very creative. I thought there was a lot of things that happened that were I didn't expect.
Yeah, the one with the almost like the voodoo doll type of deal.
Yeah.
Was pretty good because, and what, now granted too, if you watch this movie, you can almost pretty soon on, you're really not going to get too many surprises in the scheme of where the movie's going to take you. But like Tim said, some of the actual details were more surprising than the actual course of events. Because, I mean, you see in the movie how she's wronged, and you're like, okay, now she's got this evil thing. Once she figures this out, some people are going to wish they never messed with her, kind of thing. And, so there's stuff like that, and there's some really cool sequences, like I said, with that little voodoo doll type of deal. I mean, for lack of a better word, it's not really an actual voodoo doll.
Yeah, it's sort of like you can see the end, and you can see the beginning, and you can see the end, but some of the ways you get there is kind of cool to me.
Right. So yeah, so you gotta when you go into this movie, you don't expect not to be blown away by the plot twist, because you kind of know where it's heading pretty soon into the movie. You just like Tim said, you don't know how you're going to get there per se, which is part of the good thing. I mean, and I know it sounds like we're being extra critical to this movie, but overall, it's not a bad movie by any means.
No, I actually really liked it. I mean, it doesn't sound that way, and I think some of my criticisms are coming from a little place of tough love, because I liked it enough that there were parts that I almost wish I could say that would have made it even better, because I loved it that much. I thought it was really entertaining. It wasn't perfect by any means, hence my criticisms, but
you almost took it personally that it didn't do something.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say is I'm kind of I guess I'm a little bit on a soapbox, because I'm kind of upset that it there were these minor things that I wish could have been corrected. Now some of that could be cultural.
Yeah,
it could
right.
just be cultural. It could be French filmmaking versus American filmmaking and what I'm used to. So I don't I'm not blaming the movie or anything by any stretch of the imagination. It could just be a cultural thing. So I could see an Americanized version of this ruining it in other ways.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like blame the that it's a French film for any of its flaws, because I think an American version would probably be 10 times worse.
Oh,
But-
yeah, no, I think an American version of this film particularly, like
Yes.
not just
Yeah.
like if they took this script and said, okay, and let's hand it over to like James Wan. Not that I'm saying he would ruin it. I'm just saying like a director that makes the movies over here. He would have or any other any other director that would have made it for American audiences. That's a better word to do it. I won't
Yeah.
give it a specific person. It would have been so cookie cutter.
Yes.
And even more predictable, and you would have lost the kind of the, for lack of a better word, the romanticized version that the French bring. It's like there's just that the exoticness of it. You would have lost it all. It would have been like a couple of teens hanging out or something. I don't know.
There is
But,
there is like that's a good word, Brian. There is like this romantic edge to this movie,
Yeah.
in a way, and I don't quite know how to put my finger on it. But maybe you're right. Maybe it is the Frenchness of it coming through. But yeah, there is like, and maybe that's why it appealed to me. There was as much as I kind of nitpick certain things about it, like the movie kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, no, it is. It's one I'm definitely gonna watch. I mean, and another weird criticism I was gonna say, and only because, and this is more of a timing for Civil Gore thing, is, I was hoping it was more Christmassy.
That's true. Yeah, that is very true.
But that's only because we picked it as a Christmas movie for one of our Christmas movies.
There's literally
and really,
almost
you wouldn't even have
nothing.
known it was Christmas time unless they mentioned you didn't see the dates in the advent calendar. Like, I mean, was there even like I can't remember. Did she even decorate her house? I can't remember. I don't even.
No, it was like, I guess there was maybe some in the background, but like she's
Yeah, it was
going,
a slight thing, but it wasn't like there wasn't like Christmas celebrations going on.
no, like
you
she
would
goes
see.
swimming. I mean, because she's a swimmer, so she's
Right.
going into obviously it's an indoor pool, but still, like swimming is not something I associate with Christmas.
Right. It's like, and I think they go away. Well, there's a vacation sequence. She goes with her friend and her friend's boyfriend. And I think it might be snow in that part. I can't remember. 'Cause you know what? These details, it's like, it almost at some level doesn't matter in terms of the movie, because the movie, you're so focused on what's going on that, like, that's why I'm having trouble remembering those kind of details. And like I said, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because we picked it as one of our holiday movies. And traditionally our holiday movies have been very
Total
Christmas related.
Christmas related, like very hardcore.
Yeah, like there's a Santa Claus in there or a
Yeah.
Cletus, but overall, I did definitely think this is one to another one that Shudder just, whoever, all the curators in Shudder just do such a great job of getting stuff that you may not have seen if it wasn't for Shudder bringing it to us. And
I tell you, any Shudder original I've ever watched has, even some I've liked better than others. I don't know that any that I've actively disliked, but even the ones that maybe I didn't like as much as others, I always found interesting.
yeah.
There was always something to them.
But don't you agree that like there's movies that you probably never would have seen if it
Oh,
wasn't
absolutely.
Like what was
Yeah,
that one
absolutely.
we loved? The really short one with Headhunter, I think.
Yeah, like there's.
Right.
I mean, there's so many. Oh my god, there's
Yeah.
so many. I could probably say that about every Shudder original. I
Yeah.
probably would have never seen it, honestly. So I would. I still give this one a strong recommend. I have a few little. I have some nitpicks. I know it sounds like we were kind of very critical of it. I don't want to give the impression that I didn't enjoy it. I really, really like this one. It exceeded my expectations. I didn't expect to like this one as much as I did. But it's one of those that kind of sticks in your mind, and I think maybe I will appreciate either on a second viewing or maybe a few days later after I've thought about it a little while. But definitely recommend checking it out on Shudder.
Yeah, and I hope we see more of Eugenie Derouan, because I think she's, she carried a heavy load in this film, and she had to do a lot of, a lot of solo sequences and a lot of interactions with different moods and different things. And I thought she did really good. I enjoyed watching her a lot too. Just her performance in it. So
yeah. All right, Brian. So what was our beer pairing for this movie?
So I did something a little different this time. I decided because around the holiday season, a lot of these different places do this. I decided to just do a beer advent calendar. And I found one here from givethembeer.com. And I'll read you a little description here. A lot of places have it. Like, you'll see, like, we just had one. It was like the 12 Beers of Christmas from Clown Shoes, which was really good. And, Aldi has their little one. And, go to Costco, you usually find, like, there's that big one that the Costco always sells. But anyway, so this one, the description, it says, "'Tis the season to spread holiday cheer. Send a beer advent calendar complete with 12 curated craft beers from the best breweries in the U.S. directly to home or office. The festive packaging makes for a truly fun holiday experience. The recipient gets to individually uncover 12 of the highest rated craft beers of 2021 throughout the season. You don't need an advent calendar to know that Christmas is coming, but opening a numbered door to reveal a new beer each day is an idea that everyone can get behind."
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I figured maybe you change, because, sure, I could have just put one of the random Christmas beers out there, or one of those winter warmers. But, oh, by the way, I should just, on a side note, when we just, Julie and I just went to, we took Obi, we went with Obi and our friends, Corey and Kayla, their little doggy named Grinch, which is Obi's BFF. We went with them to the Lake Compounce Holiday Lights event, and they had a special, it was Paula Day Lights, which already wins us over because there's a pun in there. But so it was like a special dog event that was there. So, you could bring your dogs and get a picture with Santa Claus. And they had little puppuccinos, and the dogs were throughout the park. And it was so, but we stopped first. We went up during the day early before Lake Compounce opened. And we hit this brewery called Firefly Hollow Brewery. Which had some amazing beers. Their Christmas ale, where there is like a winter warmer, that was just out of this world. So I tried it there, but I also bought a bottle home of it. So I wanted to give a shout out to Firefly Hollow Brewery, which is amazing, amazing beers.
That's one thing I haven't done yet this year is get any seasonal beers. So I need to go to the store this weekend and pick up some stuff for Christmas because I haven't had anything. So I kind of. Yeah, I went real heavy on the pumpkin stuff.
I still have my pumpkin. I still have half of that Elysian pumpkin back. I got some other pumpkins in there. I still have some like pumpkin beers to enjoy through blending into the season. And I do need to get. I'm going to pick up because it's just a tradition every year. I always will have at least one Mad Elf. I love that from Trogs.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, I love Mad Elf. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite, just overall fun beers. It's like it's very one of those common beers that come out around this year, but I don't care. I love it. There's something about that little spice flavoring in there that I love. So.
No, I love Trogs stuff. I love. You can find it everywhere, but it's one of my favorite. One of my favorite like mainstream that you can find.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely got to hit the store this weekend. I got to think about that. I've got a bunch of I did drink all my pumpkin beers, but right now I've got like a bunch of Cigar City stuff, and it's just more general. It's not Christmassy.
Yeah, you need to get some of those winter warmers style beers. I love those around this year. The spiced.
Oh yeah, I love those.
Those spiced heavy brown ales or porters or stouts and stuff around this time of year. Love that.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to our triple threat. I guess I'll say last.
Yeah, we never went through. We still have we never went to the answer because we skipped the traditional.
That's episode, right. Yeah, so you guys have been waiting a while on this one. So we were looking for an actor or actress, and the answer was one of my favorites, Clint Howard. Yeah. One of our favorites, I should say.
Yeah, how could you not love this guy?
Yeah. Clue number one: I had roles in both the Star Wars and Star Trek universes. So Clint played Ralaki. Is that how you
I think Ralakili.
Ralakili. Okay, I missed an L there. Clint played Ralakili in Solo: A Star Wars Story, and Creepy Orion in Star Trek Discovery, Grady in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Barack in the Corbomite Maneuver episode in Star Trek: The Original TV Series, which
That's
I remember very well.
That's a very famous episode, the Corbomite.
Yeah, he was just a kid then when he played that one. Clue number two: besides myself, both of my parents, brother, and two nieces are actors as well. Of course, Clint's parents is Gene Spiegel Howard and Rance Howard, his brother Ron, which we all know, and nieces Bryce, Jocelyn, and Paige are all actors.
Yes, and Bryce, of course, we know.
Yeah.
very well. And Rance Howard too. He's my favorite thing. Is remember he was the one in Gung Ho, and he goes William Zwart, and he would say.
Clue number 3, I was in movies with Michael Myers and Mike Myers. So Clint was in Rob Zombie's Halloween, which of course featured Michael Myers, and also the Austin Powers series with Mike Myers. That's a great clue.
Yeah, but he wasn't the only. That other guy was the one that was in Halloween Kills. Remember, he was the only person to be killed by both Mike Myers and Michael Myers. So.
Yeah, that's a great clue too. Yeah. All right, so this week we are looking for an actor or actress, so listen carefully. Clue number 1. I played a surviving character in a very popular slasher film and was able to reprise the role over 40 years later. Clue number 2. I was part of one of the most viral memes of the past few years. And clue number 3. I was on several episodes of Little House on the Prairie and played 2 different characters. Who am I? This is an easy one. We're throwing an easy one. Yeah. For Christmas, your Christmas present is an easy triple threat.
Yeah, we're gonna make it easy on you guys for the next 2 weeks.
All right, so we have a new fan topic food question. We've got a new questioner here, our good buddy Cody.
New for questioner, not new to the podcast.
Right, yeah, definitely not new to the podcast. It's our intern Cody with a fan topic food question, a great one, by the way. What is your favorite subgenre? And I'm assuming horror subgenre here.
Yeah.
And, I went out and looked at horror subgenres because you can get really broad and you can get really specific. And I found a good list that kind of had a broad top level, and then it had a lot of specifics underneath. I thought that was a good list to look at. But I as I was looking at this, it really made me think, because I'd never really thought about it before, what my favorite horror subgenre was. But I kind of came up with an answer. But I'll let you go first, Brian, if you want.
Yeah. So this one's kind of tricky because I do love so many subgenres, and easy one would be, I would say, one of my favorite one, of course, would be found footage type. But then again, like, it's like, there's been so many now that it's a kind of a watered down subgenre, to the point of where, now I really am trying to seek out to find a really good one. But I was trying to think back, and I'm like, what are some of the movies that kind of really, like, that pretty much every time I watch that said subgenre, it really, like, hits me well, and I look forward to it, and I seek them out. And I think I gotta go with, right now, if it had, gun to the head, what's your favorite? I think I would go folk horror right now.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Because, I mean, we love The Witch. What was that one we was with Audrey Earnshaw? I think the folk genre could sometimes be almost like, the folk horror will be replicated, like, a little more modernized too, but still has that folk horror feel to it. So I think I would have to go that right now. I mean, I think it's something that for me would be very kind of like a fluid. Yeah. Like it could change at points because, because if any kind of subgenre, if it starts to become too much and gets watered down, then it's like, then I'm really, it's like, it's struggling. You're trying to, like, you start watching, there's so many, you watch them all, and it eventually kind of loses their magic to it. So I think, I think I like the folk horror a lot now because of the, it's, when it's done well, it's really, really good, but it's also not something that's attempted as much, Yeah,
it's becoming more popular nowadays too.
Which I'm hoping doesn't, again, do the same thing, like, found footage thing. But then again, like I said, like, you always find the gems. It's harder to find. Like, La Possession d'Alter, that one, like, listen, I've seen so many found footage things, and, you figure, like, are you really going to find one that's going to blow you away? And the past 2 years, I found, at least 3 or 4 that are really good, like that one that I always say, is it Gojijam or Haunted Asylum? I know it's Haunted Asylum, but
Haunted Asylum something,
yeah, something. But like that one, and I have to say the new Paranormal Activity really blew me away, which was great. And then of course La Possession d'Alter. So but I think right now if I would go, I'm gonna stick to the because I think I'm like exploring it more than I used to too, is the folk horror subgenre.
Oh, nice. Well, I went slightly broader. I went with I have to go with a ghost movie. a good ghost movie, a haunting movie. And if you want to get more specific, maybe haunted house subgenre, because I think for me, it goes back to when I was a kid. The earliest memories of me liking quote unquote horror or scary things was checking out ghost story books from the elementary school library. Like I would check out every ghost story book they had. That's all I read really when I was little was ghost story books. And so I just kind of grew up on that. Stuff like The Haunting, of course the more recent efforts like the stuff on Netflix with The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor, The Shining. I mean, I just think back on all of the Changeling. I just think back of all the great haunt movies that I've loved over the years, and that's just kind of what I'm drawn to. That's why I watch all these ghost hunter shows. Like I've always been drawn to that ever since I was a little kid. So if you had to, if you just asked me this without me thinking about it, I probably would have just said slashers or or something like that. But when I really started thinking about the ones I truly loved and the ones I always gravitate towards, it kind of always goes to that ghost realm. Now I will say, if you were kind of getting out of, I don't know if you can technically call it a subgenre, but if you can go back to decades, you guys know I love my 70s stuff. Like 70s, that's not really a genre, but I will almost always watch anything from the 70s before I'll watch something modern. But yeah, so that was a great question. It really made me think, because honestly, I don't know if I'd ever sit down and talk and actually thought about what subgenre of horror I like the most. That's a tough question though, because like Brian, yeah. I like all of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like there's not really a horror subgenre that I could think of that I really don't like right now. But but yeah, I mean, well, maybe if you want to say like ones that are like like, I mean, even zombie, I know we've been hard on, but again, we've been proven wrong so many times with them keep finding a way to invigorate that genre. But maybe like a poor remake / reboot, if that counts as a subgenre, for the sake of like, I don't know if this counts as a subgenre, but like where you just use the moniker of a franchise just to and then but try and reboot it drastically different. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Obviously, like our feelings are wrong. The new Wrong Turn, and what was the other one we just recently did? Thing where I was up on my soapbox for a whole episode about. It was another one like that where they just, why did they use the?
Yeah, now I'm drawing a blank because it made me so mad I forgot about it now.
Yeah, I know, but remember it was like why did they have to use the title?
Rebecca McKendry on the Colors of the Dark podcast, she used to always say I know she likes nun movies.
Yeah, she's a nunsploitation expert.
She loves nunsploitation, and she loves aquatic horror. Like, that's her two big things. I can't say that I'd be hard pressed to tell you that I love something that specific. Like, totally love everything about that, like, aquatic. I do like aquatic horror. I do like water stuff, but I guess,
well, another one, of course, we have to mention as an honorable mention. Of course, we do. You and I do love our anthologies, of course.
Oh, that's a good one. That's actually not. I mean, that's really spot on there, Brian. Because if you said anthologies, I'll watch any anthology.
Yeah,
like, no matter what. That might actually, I hate to say it, that might actually beat out paranormal ghost stuff for me.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that counts as a subgenre, right? Because
I would
obviously,
think so.
Because anthologies, though, remember, because anthologies could have one anthology could have 7 different subgenres in it. So
true, but yeah, no, I think that's valid. I mean, if you could call horror comedy a subgenre, I think you would be able to call anthologies a subgenre.
That's true. So maybe we just decided we might have swapped our opinion here. Yeah. And then look, if you look at a movie like the VHS series, which is it's basically an anthology and a found footage together,
Or you do Ghost Stories, which was an anthology with ghosts. That's perfect for me.
Ghosts, so there you go. So it's now, Dakota, you need to send a new question next week saying, what are your mixed subgenres?
What is your favorite subgenre?
Yeah, mixed subgenres or subgenre with a twist. But yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we will be back here next week for another holiday film. Don't know what it's going to be yet.
Yes, we're gonna look at. I have a couple of ideas, but I'm gonna just double check. Because I think I want one to end with a bang. Like I want like one of those like Red Christmas level. Like
I thought of a good one the other day and promptly forgot about it before I was able to text you. Yeah, I gotta think about it again because I found a. Oh, I think I know what it is, Brian, and I'll have to send it to you for your. I'm going to submit it. It's not that we have to do it, but it recently came out on Shudder, and somebody wrote like a really glowing review of it, like this was an undiscovered gem type thing. So,
well, I did see that, but those are the kind of things that that's what I'm looking for. So maybe that should be it then.
Yeah, so we'll discuss it after the recording. We'll kind of leave it as a surprise, but if you do agree with that one, it's one I definitely have on my list to watch this year.
Speaking of that, I'll end with one thing too. Is like I'm wondering which major franchise. Well, I guess I don't know. Maybe it was his birthday. I'd say has any of the major franchises talking about Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, obviously not Halloween would make sense, but any of those major franchises do anything around Christmas ever? I'm trying to think. Definitely not Friday the 13th. I want to say, did one of the Chuckies maybe do it?
Now that one, yeah. Well, Chucky, because he gets given as a Christmas present, so I think
he does. Well, the first one was a birthday, but then there was one where he was a Christmas present, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's the only one.
How cool would be like a Friday the 13th though that took place at this Friday, December 13th? So it's like in where there's like holiday decorations going around.
That would be super cool.
Going through like chopping down like a giant Christmas tree or something, or being so confused why like things are lit up because he's used to like hanging out in the summer.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah, someone needs to do that, a Friday the 13th Christmas movie, because they always associate it with summer camp, but maybe them doing they're doing a special winter camp thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
need something like that.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you back here next week. And remember, if you eat one candy, you have to eat them all.
Each.
Es ist Mitternacht.